So now we're going to use this idea of symmetry to define two types of functions, which are called even functions and odd functions. So when we look at this graph, this parabola, and notice that it has that y-axis reflectional symmetry across the y-axis. This is what's known as an even function. So a function that is symmetric across the y-axis, where if you put a mirror down the y-axis, it would be showing the same thing on each side, is called an even function. The more rigorous definition using function notation is that a function f is an even function if f of negative x equals f of x for all x in the domain of f. So the right side of the equation of an even function does not change if x is replaced with negative x. And you can see, so it has this little line here. This is not part of the graph of the function. We have the point xy, which is somewhere between, x is somewhere between 2 and 3. And then we have the point negative xy, where it's the mirror image of that point, right? So however far x is in the positive direction, negative x is in the same distance in the negative direction. And for x and negative x, they have the same y. They're on the same height, the same part of the y-axis. And this is true for any x on the positive side. If you make it negative and you flip over, you'll be the same distance above or below the x-axis, the same y value. So that's that reflectional symmetry. On the other hand, we go back to this right here, and this is what we call an odd function. An odd function is one that is symmetric with respect to the origin, so it's symmetric about the origin, where you rotate it about the origin, is that rotational symmetry that's more like our, what do you call it, lizards, where if you rotate, you get back to where you were. And the definition using our function notation is a function f is an odd function if f of negative x equals negative f of x for all x in the domain of f. So every term on the right side of the equation of an odd function, so to the right of the origin, changes sign if x is replaced with negative x. What does that mean here? Looking at this graph, we have the point x, y. If you make the x negative, so the same value but negative, it is the same distance. So this is y above the x-axis, this is y below the x-axis. So if you take any x, so for, let's use an actual, so here, sorry, they actually have this here, right? So this is y equals x cubed. If you plug 2 in, you get 8. If you plug negative 2 in, you get negative 8. So f of 2 is 8. F of negative 2 is negative 8, which is the same as negative f of x. So that's that rotational symmetry of an odd function. So if you want to identify an even or an odd function, let's do that on the next video.